Welcome to a new fragrance review. Today, I'm going to tell you how to shop for your favorite fragrance, either for cheap or if it's discontinued. So, if you're watching this video, first little disclaimer is that this video is more for people that are new in the fragrance world. So, if you've been like a year, 2 years, 3 years, or even like maybe like several months, not even a year, most likely what I'm gonna say it's not gonna be really useful to you, though you can still watch the video, hopefully enjoy it, and maybe add something in the comment for people that are new in the fragrance community and fragrance collectors, or maybe even like for just someone that clicked on my video hoping to find something, tips to get something for a cheaper price. Now, the first thing you need to know is that when you're gonna buy a fragrance or perfume or cologne, however you want to call it, when you go buy fragrance in a store, it's going to be more expensive all the time than wherever else you can get it. And like maybe not all the time, but like 99% of the time. Of course, there might be someone that will sell some cheap fragrance for an amazing price that doesn't make sense on eBay, but that's not what I'm talking about. Now, if you're looking to get fragrance for a cheaper price, there are companies that are called discounters. My favorite one is fragrance.buy. I got my link in the description, and you can get $5 off on your first purchase if you're interested. Use my link. It's not a sponsored video. It's just I really genuinely like this company. Also, they're in Canada. That kind of helps from me liking the company. But yeah, there's discounter. How discounters work, it's pretty easy. There are places in the world where fragrance are not sold the same price just because it's not the same market and some people wouldn't be able to pay or afford the fragrance. It would be more expensive. Sometimes some fragrance, they stay the same price everywhere. Also, there's a lot of factor in there. But something you need to know is that sometimes fragrances are cheaper in different place for the same exact thing. So those discounter will buy it in those places and they will sell it for a cheaper price than what you would pay it in stores. This is one of the way they will get fragrance. Other way that are really common for discounter to get fragrance is one of the two reasons that I'm going to say. The first one is when there's a fragrance store or a store that just sell fragrance that do bankruptcy. Sometimes they would just sell everything, liquidate everything, and kind of like to lose as little money as possible or to pay back like debtor and stuff like that. Discounter will find those deals and they will just buy all the fragrance to be able to sell it again. Sometimes also there's just company that aren't closed from bankruptcy or anything. They just have some fragrance that they don't sell at all. For some reason, X fragrance is not popular at this place. They just bought a lot and they cannot sell it. So they will sell it for cheap so they don't lose a lot of money and sell whole of all they have in this particular fragrance, and discounter will just buy it from them for cheaper and then sell it to you cheaper. Also, I know a lot of discounter buy fragrance straight from the company and just sell it for cheaper than what other store will sell it because that's what they do. They sell stuff for cheap. But what you have to get with that is that those discounter, they sell you fragrance for way cheaper and sometimes really cheaper than what you're gonna buy the fragrance elsewhere. Now you need to be careful when you're getting on those websites. Some of them are gonna try to rip you off and not sell you good fragrance and real stuff. There's a lot of reputable discounter. There's of course fragrance.buy, that's a really great one. There's fragrance X also that exists, and there's fragrance net also, that's a really popular one. I'm not gonna do a list, I don't know them all. I'm just buying from fragrance.buy because buy something from the US there's always like fees and stuff like that. If you're not from Canada, if you're from the US, you probably have more option. If you're from Europe, all the names that I said are probably stuff you cannot really get fragrance from. So that really, certainly those names might not be relevant relevant for you, but you can do your own research about a good, reputable discounter for you. But be especially careful if you find testers. A lot of time people fake testers. Like this one is a real tester. It's not a fake, but usually testers come in a white box that says tester and the name of the fragrance. And often they will fake it because when you make a real fragrance, you need to do like the box, you need to do the bottle, you need to do the cap. But when you do like a fake tester, all you need is to make the bottle, no cap, no box. You put it in a white box, say it's a tester. Really easier to fake a tester. Tester, when they're real, are always cheaper because it's not made for sale, but sometimes people you just sell it anyway. And that's a way you can have something cheap. Just really, really be careful before you buy a tester, unless it's from one of those places that I said or some place that's reputable. Don't just go any place, look for a tester in the first website that pops up. It might be scammed. This will be pretty much the best way for you to get a fragrance for cheaper. The discounters. Sometimes there might be some place where there will be some special or something like that. You can accumulate point. I won't go into like how to save money just buying stuff, but just for fragrance specifically, discounter is pretty much your best bet. Now, if the fragrance you want to buy is discontinued, you're a little bit more in trouble. Now, if it's discontinued, you can get it. If it's just being discontinued, you're pretty lucky because sometimes discounter they just buy those fragrance. The first thing that will happen with discontinued fragrance that those fragrance will be in special. Sometimes they might be bought back by the company, but sometimes they will be in special. There's Canada, there's a place called Shopper, and when it happens, those fragrance are sold usually at 20 bucks, like $20, and it's a really good deal. It can be like super expensive fragrance and they will be sold at $20. Usually they sell really fast and some people will buy them to sell it again in different place, eBay for example. So that's the first thing that will happen. So if it's just discontinued, I would say like look everywhere and try to get it for cheap because it's cheapest you're gonna get it. Then usually those fragrance when they are sold, people that buy them to sell it back. Sometimes it's discounter, so they will sell it back discounter, usually for pretty cheap at first. The more it goes, the more expensive it will be. But if it's not being too long, for example, there's Aspen that has been discontinued. I was able to get it on a discounter. That might be your luck if it wasn't being discounted for too long. Now, if it's been a long time, maybe it's an older version of the fragrance that you want to have, your last chance is to go in different marketplace, Craigslist, and stuff like that. I would say eBay would be pretty much the best place to go for that, but you can also find those other little places and just search for the fragrance. You might be lucky. A lot of time there's people that have a discontinued fragrance. They put it aside for a time. They wait that it raise in price and sell it back. At this point, you're not in luck at all. You're gonna have to do a lot of homework to get your fragrance and to pay a lot. Now, when it happens that fragrance is discontinued, at one point there will be a hype. People will be like, oh, like it's discontinued, and for some reason all of a sudden everyone seemed to really enjoy the fragrance, so it's going to be really expensive. Also, it will be more like harder to get because a lot of people buy it to be able to wear it, so the more it goes, the less there's to sell. But usually less people want to buy it also. It's not such a problem, but it still will finish to be expensive. But the problem is that with more and more scarcity of the fragrance and the popularity that raised at that point, there will be more and more fake that will be created so people can sell fake fragrance, because if something sells, people create fake, just how it is. So you need to find a way to really be able to see a bottle and see the box. If it's your favorite fragrance, which is like title of the video. It's not how to buy like old fragrances, just buy your favorite one. So yeah, if it's your favorite fragrance, you should learn how it looks like, what are signs that specific bottle is a fake. You need to really do research, be sure that when you buy something, it's not a fake, because there's nothing worse than buying a $200, $300 fragrance that used to be sold for $50 because you really want it, and it turns out that it's a fake. It's not nice. It sucks. And I hope you don't do it. So you need to do your homework before. You need to search, be sure that it's the real one, the real deal before you buy it. But it's possible to find discontinued fragrance if you really want. So those are my tips if you're looking to find your favorite fragrance. either for a cheaper price or if it's discontinued for some amount of time and you just want it again. Hope you enjoyed the video. Guys will like and share. And also, if you watch the video for fun of watching it and you're like an old school or old timer in the fragrance world and you already knew everything that I said, and maybe there's stuff that I forget to say, or maybe I just don't know, little tips for people that are new in the fragrance community, leave a comment. And if you're new and you have questions, just also leave a comment. So thanks for watching and see you soon.